You've been putting it off for a while, but it's time to max out your retirement account contributions for 2022. Even though you've been putting it off, you know it's going to save you a bunch of money. You got to do it. Got to do it. It's going to help your retirement, and it's definitely going to lower your taxes. Hey there, my name's Ken French. I'm with vastsolutionsgroup.com, where we do tax finance and artificial intelligence to lower the tax liability for entrepreneurs. We're trying to help you, the entrepreneur. We also do a little bit of blockchain consulting, becoming more and more prevalent out in the world. Get a hold of us if you need any help. But more than anything, let's start talking about here. Want to do the smart thing, that being to max out your retirement plan. It is smart. You've been putting it off. I don't care how old you are. It's something that everyone puts off, but they do know that it will help them a ton. You got to take advantage of what the government's doing. What they're doing is giving you money for your retirement. And let's talk about some specifics. If, let's say, you've waited around, you're 50 years old, maybe a little bit older, the government's giving you a catch-up provision. So, you can make an additional contribution to your IRA or your qualified plan. So you can contribute $6,500 to your IRA or your Roth IRA, depending. Also, in your retirement plan, let's say a 401k, you can put away $20,500 for 2022. But also, by the way, going back to the IRA, on top of the $6,500, you could put away another $1,000. So in that case, you could put away, you potentially could put away a lot. I mean, a lot, and it'll lower your tax liability. By the way, also worth considering is a Roth conversion. Let's talk about that. In many situations, it can be truly beneficial to convert a portion of your traditional IRA or maybe another plan to your Roth IRA if you do so before December 31st. Now, what does that mean? You got to do it typically when you're in a low tax bracket year, but then again, the growth of your Roth IRA every year is tax-free. When you pull it out, tax-free under current law. Who knows, by the way, what's going to happen down the road. By the way, all this stuff, all the information we're providing here, we're providing as education. We don't know what's going to happen down the road specifically. What you need to do is you need to talk to either a tax provider, investment professional, maybe even a tax attorney to help you. Everything you do should be truly customized. You can't be just watching YouTube. You can't be listening to podcasts. You have to get really specific and customized advice. So let's talk about a Roth IRA. You pay regular income tax on the funds before you put them in, but once they're in the Roth IRA, as I mentioned before, they grow income tax free. And you pay zero tax as it relates to current law when you withdraw the money in retirement. By the way, provided you've had the money in there for at least 5 years. Now, unlike your traditional IRA, you're not required to ever withdraw the money if you don't have to, or if you don't want to, I should say. So they can continue, meaning the money, the assets can grow tax-free as long as you like. You don't have to take money out when you're 72 years of age as you would in a traditional IRA or retirement plan. You can even pass them on to your heirs tax-free. So that makes it really nice. So the potential for, tax-free growth is phenomenal. And especially if you're doing crypto. By the way, we were one of the first at vastsolutionsgroup.com to allow for crypto investments in a 401k, in an IRA, in a defined benefit plan, cash balance plan, etc. So we know what we're talking about when it comes to crypto in retirement plans, which is now becoming more and more prevalent. If your current taxable income is, some room for growth because your tax deductions and credits are wiping out your taxes, then the additional taxes for rolling over into it, over the traditional IRA might be a non-issue for you. It might not work. You might not have to worry about it. Also, if you expect to be in a higher bracket when you retire, because that might be the case, by the way, you'll pay fewer taxes on the rollover now than you would if you kept the old IRA and had to pay taxes on your distributions in retirement. So again, that makes sense if you're thinking of it in those terms to look at doing a conversion, or at least maybe even looking at doing investments in a Roth environment. Now, something also to think about, you can start a self-employed retirement plan. If you're self-employed and you're not using a retirement plan, you very potentially can contribute almost, $61,000 towards your retirement plan each year in what's called a defined contribution plan. Again, find out the specifics. You need customized advice on that. Not only are you planning for your retirement, but you're also reducing your taxable income by a huge amount if you do a retirement plan. Because let's just say, you're a third tax bracket. Let's say you're 33% tax bracket, pretending, right, on 61,000. That's roughly $20,000 of tax savings. Now, I don't know about you, but I personally would like to have $20,000 of tax savings. And by the way, this isn't tax avoiding. You're not doing anything illegal. What you're doing is investing in your own well-being, in your own retirement plan, and the government is paying for you to do that by giving you deduction. In my example, on 61,000, roughly, you're saving $20,000. There are a lot of options available for self-employed retirement plans. People forget about that, but that is the case. Talk to your financial advisor or your tax professional. Also, by the way, you can wait until the end of the year. Play the calendar game, as we call it. If you find yourself nearing the end of the year and, you can see you're not going to reach your contribution limits for your 401k, let's say, do what you can to increase your payroll deduction, even if it's just for a few months. The same goes for your IRA contribution. Do whatever you can to reach the limits. Because, again, you're putting money away for yourself, and who knows, you're going to save some taxes too. Maximize contributions any way you can. That's what I would say, depending on your circumstances. Clearly, you need money for your personal cash flow, but, if you could get around buying that, instead of buying a cool Mercedes, maybe you could buy a Honda. I don't know. Maximize your contributions any way possible. Now, these strategies can improve your financial situation. It's important to at least do the necessary research before making significant changes to your retirement planning and strategies. Just as there are many things you can do to reduce your tax burden, there's a lot of mistakes you could do as well. Always consult. I keep saying it. I guess I've said it a couple times during this podcast episode. Always consult your financial or tax provider. Get customized help. Don't listen to this podcast. Don't listen to, a TV show, a talking head. Find out exactly what you should do in your circumstance, or check out our resources at vastsolutionsgroup.com. We'd be loving if we could help you out. But then again, the person who knows you best is probably your tax provider and also can help you, or that being your financial advisor as well. Kenneth French signing off. Hopefully this has been helpful. If so, please go ahead and check back as often as possible. We release a new podcast every single week on a weekly basis. Thanks again for listening.